Hello, and thank you for watching this ag forecast for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. We'll start off with the satellite picture here, a quiet picture across the lower 48. We're going to continue to keep favorable harvest conditions in place across the Corn Belt over the next 4 to 5 days. Dry conditions, warmer temperatures. We're going to see 70s and 80s, even some 90s returning to the Corn Belt over the next few days. We've got Delta on the satellite picture here. Hurricane Delta making its way toward the Yucatan over the next couple of days. Will eventually make its way through the Gulf and then up toward the southern coast here as we get into the weekend. Here's a closer shot of Delta here this morning, continuing to really rapidly intensify. The latest statement here from the National Hurricane Center: Delta is a Category 2 hurricane, but is expected to intensify toward major hurricane status. That would be Category 4 or 5 over the next 48 hours. We'll start with a look at the radar picture, and again, pretty quiet. We've just got some very light showers making their way across lower Michigan right now. Otherwise, all the deep tropical moisture here kind of confined to the southeast. We've seen several days of showers and storms across the Florida Peninsula, and we'll continue to see that happening as we head through the next few days as well. The last 72 hours of precipitation, just some light shower activity across the Great Lakes into the eastern Corn Belt. Otherwise, a dry week from the western U.S. into much of the Corn Belt and then down across the southeast and even up into the northeast. We'll look at the next week then. Temperatures warming across the Corn Belt. The next 7 days, temperature anomaly. Again, seeing the core of the warmest air here shifting into the central and northern plains and eventually the upper Midwest. And as we look at precipitation over the next week, we're going to be keeping things pretty quiet until we get to the other side of next weekend. Monday and Tuesday, looking at a storm system making its way into the central U.S., and then, of course, we will have to monitor Delta and its heavy precipitation as it makes its way into potentially the Mid-South, bringing some heavy rain to Kentucky and Tennessee, perhaps clipping the Ohio River Valley as we get into mid-next week as well. Now, the pattern we got right now, again, continuing to feature the ridge in the west, the trough across the Hudson Bay dipping down into the Great Lakes, keeping that cooler air rotating around the base of that trough will bring another shot of cooler air to the upper Midwest as we head through the next 24 to 36 hours. But by and large, as we head into the rest of this week, watching ridging expand across the Corn Belt, we'll deepen a new trough across the Gulf of Alaska. Again, ridging across the midsection of the country, that is going to allow us to warm up. So we'll keep dry conditions across the Corn Belt, but it won't be cool and dry this week. It'll be warmer and dry as we take it into the weekend. Now, as we take it a little bit further, we're going to watch a very strong jet extension associated with this. You see the isobars here tightly packed. That implies a very strong jet stream winds. It's going to help bring that trough ashore here, pushing it across the western U.S., bringing some beneficial rainfall to the west as we head into the beginning of the weekend. And then as we get into the early part of next week here, Monday and Tuesday, this is a prime pattern here as this trough begins to swing into the middle of the country to at least get a couple days of shower and thunderstorm activity, kicking off a well-organized storm system in the middle of the country. Now we can look at the wind speeds associated with the jet stream here, and as we again get started on this Tuesday morning, watching the same pattern, ridge in the west, trough in the east, a very strong jet streak coming around the base of that trough over the Hudson Bay. That's what's going to bring the little adjustment to our temperatures downward just a bit across northern portions of the Corn Belt. I'm talking about the, maybe North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, but temperatures shouldn't flinch much across the remainder of the Corn Belt here as we continue a general warming trend into the end of the week. So that little that wave rotates around the base of the trough. We start to pivot the ridge off to the east across the midsection of the country. Delta, the little wild card down here, but this is the big enormous trough that's headed here as we get into the beginning of next week. We'll watch the very strong winds associated with that. Jet stream winds over 100 knots associated with that at 500 millibars. This is a very well-organized trough, and again, it just swings in a couple of waves. We've got kind of a lead one right here that wants to come in as we get into Monday. This would put the best lift with this one would be across the northern plains into the upper Midwest, but then we've got this second one that comes screaming in behind it. This one wants to lift into the Corn Belt as we get into Tuesday. That would put the best lift here across parts of the Midwest into the eastern Corn Belt. So the response at the surface then, we've been looking at this plot showing precipitable water, our moisture depth within the atmosphere. Same thing here. Nothing has changed over the last few weeks. All the deep moisture is still confined down here to the southeast across the Gulf Coast. As we move into the weekend, we'll see Delta. You can see the circulation right here from Delta making its way across the Gulf Coast and then curving northward, making landfall somewhere between eastern Texas over toward Louisiana, likely as we get into Saturday. What you're seeing here is, again, here's the front. This is the one that has like squeegeed the Gulf moisture down there. We've got Delta making its way up. Delta makes landfall as we get into Saturday, taking some of its deep tropical moisture with it now, and then freeing up the Gulf to allow moisture to advect northward with each of our next waves as they come in Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. So we will finally open the Gulf up to get some more measurable precipitation into the midsection of the country. Remember, I said that's what had to happen. You know, we can't be drawing our source region for our air mass out of the Canadian prairie and expecting heavy rainfall. Of course, we're moving into harvest. No one is expecting or in dire need of a significant rainfall at this point. It's a little bit late for that. But we need to reverse that pattern. We need a big trough digging in across the western U.S., swinging into the central U.S. to tap into the Gulf of Mexico, and that is exactly what we're going to get, although we have to wait 5 to 8 days for that to happen. So get your operations done here over the next 5 days or so, because we have a little bump in the road as we get to Monday and Tuesday of next week. The precipitation forecast is clear, though, as we head through the rest of the week. Just some light moisture across the northern Great Lakes, but then we'll take this through. This is the forecast for today. This would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now we're starting to get some moisture lifting into Kentucky and Tennessee, but still the remainder of the Corn Belt is dry as we take it into Saturday. Taking it into Sunday, still much of the Corn Belt is dry, and then it's late Sunday getting into Monday. Now we're going to have to talk about becoming unsettled, both from Delta's moisture making it into the Ohio River Valley, and then also our storm system that'll be swinging into the midsection of the country as we get into this time frame. So let's call it dry through Saturday. Spotty chances for some moisture on Sunday, but then a big chance for some precipitation, possibly in the form of some thunderstorms that cross parts of the Corn Belt, even as we get into Monday and Tuesday of next week. So the next 5 days, dry across the Corn Belt. The only wild card is going to be Delta lifting into parts of the Mid-South as we get into Saturday and Sunday. And then as we head into days 6 through 10, a big change. We'll talk about what precipitation amounts are actually going to look like as we get a little bit closer to this and get some more confidence in the actual track, the actual regions that are going to see that significant precipitation. Good agreement with the GFS. I've been showing you the European model content, but even the GFS keeping it dry. Here's all the way through 4 p.m. on Friday. Take it a little bit further into Saturday. Here comes Delta into Kentucky and Tennessee, but still the Corn Belt dry as far as that wave approaching towards or from the west until we start to get into, you can see the date up there, late Sunday, likely not until we get into the day on Monday. So dry through Saturday and Sunday, active as we get into Monday and Tuesday across the Corn Belt. Your temperatures warming, 80s becoming more widespread across the Corn Belt. Here are your highs for Tuesday. This would be Wednesday. Here's your slight downward adjustment across the northern Great Lakes. 50s for the high on Wednesday, warming back into the 60s and 70s by the time we get to Friday, keeping warmth in the region until Saturday, Sunday, and then probably Monday in some areas. But then as that trough begins to dig in, we'll likely be talking about another downward shift in our temperatures across the Corn Belt as we head into the middle of next week. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again about the Corn Belt on Friday morning.